This is a continuation of the last lesson. The last lesson is a demonstration of Newton's first law, the law of inertia. But now we like to make some explanation of the law. So this is Newton's first law of motion, the law of inertia. What does the first law say? It says, if the net force acting on an object is zero, the object will maintain its state of rest or constant velocity. Now, when an object has no applied force, in other words, the net force is zero, there is no applied force, then the object, if the object is not moving, then it will keep not moving. If the object is already moving, then the object will keep moving at constant velocity. Now this is the first law of motion, the Newton's first law. There is a word called inertia. The first law is also called the law of inertia. What is inertia? Now, inertia is a property of matter that causes an object to resist changes to its motion. What does this mean? Resist changes to its motion. In other words, this is the same as the first statement. If the object is already at rest, then it does not like to change. It does not like to move. It wants to keep the state of rest. So that means resist changes to its motion. If the object is already in motion, then it will keep that motion and resist any changes in its motion. In other words, if you want to stop it, then the matter or the object does not like it. The object likes to keep on moving. So it doesn't like to change. So this is the first law. Now we made a summary of that. Objects at rest tend to remain at rest. That means it does not like to change. Okay. On the other hand, if the object is already in motion, then it wants to maintain its motion. It does not want to stop. If it's already in motion, it likes to keep on moving. All right. If the velocity of an object is constant, then the net force, net external force must be zero. If there is no external force, no net force on the object, then the object if the net force acting on the object is zero, then the velocity must be constant. If the net force on the object is zero, then if the object is already at rest, it will be at rest. If the object is moving, then it will be moving, but moving at constant velocity when the external net force is 0. So, if you see an object is moving with constant velocity, you can have the conclusion that the net force is 0. Now let's go back to our last video. In the last video, I have a cup of tea, and the cup of tea is resting on a piece of paper. Now, I showed in the video, first of all, I pull the paper very, very slowly. And you see that the cup of tea will follow the motion, will move together with the paper. However, if I pull the paper suddenly, pull the paper away very suddenly, then you see that the cup of water will stay there. It will not move. It stays at the original position. So this is inertia, see? Inertia tells us that if there is a sudden change, the object does not like it. Object will resist sudden change. So if I pull the paper suddenly, now, sudden change, the word sudden is very important. If you pull the paper quickly, very quickly, then the cup of tea does not like to change suddenly, so it stays there. So this is the first law. So you are in a bus. Now this is the daily experience. If you are in the bus, and the bus is not moving, the bus stopped at a bus stop. So you are inside the bus, but you have no seat, so you are standing there. Now the bus starts to move because the traffic light is green, so it starts to move. Then you have a tendency to fall backwards, fall to the rear end of the bus. Why is that so? Because you originally are at rest. And when the bus moves, you don't want to move. You resist the change. Therefore, you want to keep at rest. But the bus is moving, so relatively you fall back to the rear end of the bus. The opposite case is this. After the bus is moving, so you are inside, so everything is fine. You stand without any trouble inside the bus, and you are moving with the bus at the same speed. But when the bus brakes, when the bus suddenly brakes and brings the bus to a stop suddenly, if that happens, you will find yourself fall forward. Again, this is Newton's first law. Because you are already moving, if the bus stops suddenly, you do not like the sudden change. So you keep on moving. That's why you will fall forward. Now these are the examples of Newton's first law. So this lesson is to explain my last video, which shows a cup of tea with a paper at the bottom, and I pull the paper first slowly and then suddenly. So the explanation is this lesson. Good. We will continue with Newton's second law now. next time. So goodbye.